Welcome back, fellow traders. Grab your gear and let's dive straight into today's Bitcoin chart. After the recent dump, Bitcoin has entered much calmer waters and is now showing some mixed signals. So the big question is, are we looking at the calm before the storm? Will Bitcoin break higher, or is another move down still waiting beneath the surface? In today's update, we'll take a look at the key higher timeframe levels and the trading scenarios I'm watching right now. So grab your gear and let's dive in. As always, let's start by mapping out the most relevant higher timeframe levels on the daily chart. Above the current price, we have a resistance area around 67,000. The next major resistance sits much higher, around 73,000. Below us, we have a support zone around 61,000. And beneath that, if we zoom out a little further, we find the 54,000 support area that I've talked about quite a lot in previous videos. These are the most relevant higher timeframe levels and, in my opinion, the most interesting areas to look for trades. That's how simple it is. Now let's move down to the 4-hour chart and take a closer look at the current market structure. The reason I said earlier that Bitcoin is giving us some mixed signals is the following. On the one hand, we're seeing clear rejections from important resistance levels, like this one here and this one right here. On the other hand, Bitcoin continues to hold above the support levels below. As a result, there isn't a clear trend visible at the moment. Instead, we're seeing price compress between support and resistance. And whenever price starts compressing like this and the swings become smaller, I zoom out and focus on the outer edges of that compression. Those are the areas where I'm most interested in looking for trades. In this case, those levels are right here at the top and right here at the bottom. All right, let's fine-tune these levels a little further and move down to the 1-hour chart to build our trading scenarios. Inside this support area, I'm interested in a lower time frame rotation trade, but why don't I just buy immediately instead of waiting for additional confirmation? The reason is simple. The higher time frame trend is still pointing down. And as long as Bitcoin remains below the 67,000 resistance area, the most logical outcome is still a continuation of the downtrend and eventually a new lower low. If Bitcoin continues pushing lower, I'll be looking for a continuation trade toward the next major higher timeframe support zone, around 54,000. Now let's look at the upside scenario. If Bitcoin holds the 61,000 support area and starts pushing higher toward this resistance zone, I'm not particularly interested in shorting it immediately. What I'd like to see first is a sweep of the highs, creating a new higher high. After that, I want to see a loss of the move that led to that high. If that happens, it would indicate a potential trend reversal on the lower time frame, and that's where I'll become very interested in a short position. On the other hand, if Bitcoin breaks through the resistance zone and continues moving higher, I'll be looking for a continuation trade toward the next higher timeframe resistance area, around 73,000. If you enjoyed this analysis, consider subscribing and joining me on my journey to becoming a profitable Bitcoin trader.